And let's now talk about how Holocaust Remembrance Day is being commemorated through especially the memories of the survivors, over 50 of them gathering in Auschwitz this time around, perhaps the last time that they will gather in such large numbers in for a long time to come, for the future, any foreseeable future. We're joined by Professor Ummu Salma Bava, Center of European Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. Professor Bava, good evening. What do you make of this sort of a gathering and all, in fact, the commemorations, the marking of Holocaust remembrance throughout the day today?
Good evening and thank you, Gautam. I think it's important to reiterate that, the past sometimes is witness to things which we don't want ever to be repeated. There's a saying that if you don't remember the past, you are condemned to repeat it. And I think 80 years on, many generations have come and gone. History, becomes something which is then in books and stories and movies and films. But what took place 80 years back is about a dark moment in history. And it calls attention never to forget that, so that those kind of atrocities, the Holocaust, does not ever take place again. And it is to about recognize the human rights of all individuals. So it's an important moment. It is very solemn. There are few survivors 80 years later. And, we are close to, 20 years coming up when it will be a 100-year period. So I think in that sense, given the kind of identity politics also which is coming up, it's important to recognize a past which continues to, still influence politics, policies, and the way people live and engage with each other. But more importantly, to take stock as, human beings, that we all have a responsibility to each other.
Yes, and if you talk about the kind of ideology that led to these atrocities in Auschwitz and many other places, Auschwitz was the worst really, but there were other concentration and extermination camps that the Nazis had put together. The ideology that it stems from, do you think that is also something that perhaps people need to be warned about? Because one, it is anti-Semitism, yes, definitely, but it goes much beyond that. It's about almost an all-pervading hate apart from one race.
Yeah, so I think, what began at a historical point in time, the policy of the Nazis to kind of systematically exterminate a group of people by labeling them, also points to how hate, can be generated, sustained, and then taken to the ultimate step of, systematically removing people. So I think it's important in the sense, two things. One, Germany took the decision in 1996 by the then President Roman Herzog that there should be this Holocaust Remembrance Day. And then in 2005, the United Nations also decided. So I think in that it's important that one learns about it. One learns, what can be done in terms of collective action, how people sometimes, overtly and covertly can become part of it. And if you do not recognize what has happened in the past, then the danger is that in many ways, one will target other people. Hate is something that can be manufactured and sustained over long periods of time. And therefore, one of the important points of the Remembrance Day today is also to recognize that we need to educate people to understand history, to recognize that, you cannot, practice this kind of hate against anybody.
Yes, and do you feel that the danger is even more in these times, our present times, because of not just the kind of ideological roots that are still there perhaps, but also because the kind of tools that Nazi Germany had at its disposal to dispense its ideology and the sense of hate and entitledness, really those were blunt tools compared to what we have today in the information age, in the age of AI.
Absolutely, Gautam. You just said it. What was used at that point in time, in the 30s in Germany, was a very different era. Today, hate is kind of packaged and goes directly into everybody's inbox. Can you think of the kind of way the poison can slowly spread all around, and one is sometimes not even aware? And I think more importantly, different age groups may or may not, especially the young, have that kind of discernment about what they are consuming, which is coming over social media. So I think it becomes more incumbent on all of us collectively as a society, to also to come together and say that, okay, hate in any form has to be, pushed back, and one has to have constantly, what is to remember is to engage. Why does it come? Because, there is unknown fears. And if there is no space to have conversations and recognize that most of these fears are unfounded, it's very easy to plant the seed that the other is an enemy, the other is to be hated. So I think today the task of recognizing what this day stands for is even more acute, given how quickly people are forming opinions and judgments, and how quickly people, and especially the young, a generation which is only growing up consuming social media, can be kind of, totally converted to believing in messages of hate for anybody and everybody.
Yes, certainly. That is always the danger, especially when divisiveness is rising in the world. We've seen that happening in most recently in the US election outcome as well. But we'll have to see how things go from here on. Just good to remember that the past holds a lot of lessons for us, and one such lesson can be picked up today itself from the commemoration of Holocaust Day. Thank you for joining us, Professor Bava.